Maybe not the third inning, but definitely we're in the middle innings
Okay.
because we have talked about this before. As I told you guys, more Samoans are coming. It
Yep.
took a while, right? But I was saying more Samoans are coming, and we got Tamatonga, and we're going to get Jacob Fatu, and we're going to have more Samoans coming. So third inning, no, Gabe, but it feels more like fourth or fifth inning because this can evolve into women that are of Samoan heritage. That whole thing, when we saw that family tree at that press conference in Las Vegas, and how
So big.
many Samoans, how
So
big it
big.
is. It just shows you, Brian, that this can go on for a while without Roman.
Right. That's the thing. Like you mentioned Jacob Fatu, things like that. And you have different dynamics now. Like Jey Uso mentioning Jimmy on Monday and what happened there. I feel like we see an Usos reunion. You have The Rock out there. You have Roman out there. I tend to agree. I feel like we're not at the seventh inning stretch yet. Like we still have a long way to go. And I feel like the goal for them is to get to Mania 41, wherever that might be, to where we eventually get to Rock Roman. Because we haven't gotten there yet. Like there are still a lot of layers to this, which is just insane since it's 2024. And this has been going a very long time.
As you continue to add more people from the family and more people from the bloodline, it makes me think, early middle innings, maybe. I mean, this can go on for a long time. There are a number of different angles that you can continue. And even though Roman's not going to be around, the reports are he is still going to have a say in what the storylines and things of that nature are going to be. And especially as long as Paul Heyman's involved. Like we talked about this a couple of weeks ago when we talked about some of the best storytellers in professional wrestling. And there's a reason why Paul Heyman went in, and it's because he's been one of the best storytellers. I trust the bloodline story in his hands. And as they continue to add more and more pieces, I can kind of see it becoming, when you look at what Bullet Club is in New Japan Pro Wrestling, like it's still an ongoing part of what New Japan Pro Wrestling does. Now, a lot of the members that founded it, that were originally a part of it, leaders, that we've seen over the course of the years, they're not there anymore, but they passed the torch to the next person. And, the Bullet Club still exists. I don't see the Bloodline going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, I don't see necessarily them, in the main event, unless one of these PLEs, they happen to main events because Cody's doing like a tag match or whatever. But I can see them, not necessarily around the two major championships in WWE, but I can still see it being a big part of WWE storytelling because as you pointed out, Jay Hood, that family tree that we saw in Vegas is massive. And there are plenty of people in that family they can continue to bring in and continue to tell captivating stories with.
They had it set up at WWE World, the whole thing.
Oh, they did?
Yes.
Oh,
like they had the
wow.
tree, they had a table that you could sit at the head of. It was part of the interactive exhibit in Philly. And the other thing is like they're sort of making other stars where we talk about wins and losses now, they don't really matter in the WWE world. Solo Sikoa, who doesn't win matches, is now all of a sudden looked at as a badass heel. Now all of a sudden
Except
you can have
he won against Cena.
Right, but has he won since then? Because I don't think any wins since then. But
No.
like, you can have Solo, Tamatonga, Jacob Fatu versus the Usos and Roman main event at pay-per-view.
Oh yeah,
boy, what they had to pay for Ancestry.com to make that whole family tree had to be expensive.
Yeah, probably.
Had to be expensive for this to happen. I will say there's two things. One, we saw Solo Sikoa speak.
Yeah.
And Solo Sikoa almost took the reins of all of it, to use a phrase. Took the reins and started speaking and made Paul Heyman back down. The other thing is that we see this guy from New Japan come out of nowhere and he fit in sonically just like that. It wasn't one of these things we had to go to NXT and had to kind of bide his time. No, he got right into the storyline. So I just feel like more and more are coming just based on that. And the other thing too, guys, is that, yeah, the storyline can extend, and it can extend without being in the main event.
Mm-hmm.
Cody is in the main event against whomever he's going to face, but the Bloodline storyline can continue on Raw and SmackDown with it being at the top of the card.
They also haven't like broken in case of emergency like the old timers. Like we haven't seen Rikishi come back. We haven't seen like a Haku and things like that. Like they still have that in their back pocket if they want it. Like if we're comparing to baseball, like those bench players, those utility guys, like